Alright, there we go. We're back now. Alright, should we have round of 128, Chuterêve versus harandil. They're doing mulligans right now. We're running over quick deck list because this is now a restricted list, so if people want to get kind of a look at what people have done, we see Chuterêve playing pretty much his exact same deck. I don't think his deck was touched like at all. She was playing Scorpion Splash prior, 2 Fate Worse Than Death, 2 Calling in Favors, really trying to tech for the Dragon matchup. And it's really good against Crab. You know, Lecco is a little bit better, but Fate Worse Than Death is a very powerful card. We see a bunch of 1Xs. Less so than normal, though. It's only 3 1X cards. 1X Noble Sack, 1X Censure, 1X Admit Defeat. Prior to the restricted list, Chuterêve had a lot more 1-ofs in his Conflict deck. We see 3 Fans, 3 Katanas, 1 Kami Unleashed, 1 Young Harrier, and then we see 2 Rivals and 3 Stewards. Interesting that Shoot only plays 2 Rivals instead of 3. We see 1 Mia Mystic. Interesting. Shoot slowly coming over. Looks like he cut an Artisan for it. So 1 Mia Mystic, 1 Artisan, 3X of a bunch of stuff, 2X Shizue instead of 1X, and the 2X Hitaru, pretty standard. Looking at the Crab player, we have Crab Unicorn, post-restricted list. Interesting, we see 2 Gaijin customs instead of 2 talismans. So the only 1 talisman of this on a Chuterêve, if he takes it with Policy Debate or Calling in Favors, there are no more copies of that. But Gaijin customs is very strong. We see a troll copy of Ferrocord. For people who don't know what this card does, I think this card is wildly unplayable, and I think putting it in your deck is just straight up trolling. But I guess I could be wrong, I don't know. Basically, you have to do it during the Dynasty phase. You have to discard the Imperial Favor and you gain 2 Fate. The problem is that your opponent just takes Passing Fate, and so you just discarded a card and the Favor to gain 1 Fate net, basically. But everything else looks really standard. We do see 2 Cloud the Mind. That is slightly non-standard. 3 Watch Commander, 3 Reprieve, 3 Rebuild. Yep, pretty standard stuff. We see a 42 card Conflict deck. That is also slightly suboptimal, especially when one of your cards is Ferrocord. And then we see 9 holdings, 41 cards in the Dynasty deck. We see a 1X Ritsuko, kind of. If you just got the Ritsuko, the 2 Clouds, the Ferrocord, and play 1 more, like, Way of the Crab or Mountain Does Not Fall, I like this deck a lot more. But we're gonna let them go. Let's see. It's gonna be Public Forum, actually, instead of Defend the Wall in the row for Crab. And then Rally Under the Box, and then we see Entrenched Position for Chuterêve on box. Was there Taka on that deck, Onimaru? Did I just, like, gloss over that? Oh, yeah, there's 2 Yasuki Takas also. Interesting. There's only 2 Hida Kasadas in this list. And he's not playing... Yeah, this is just a kind of a weird list. But we'll see how it works. Not surprisingly, Crab took Iron Mine as their restricted list card, if anyone was looking for. Yeah, I went back and found it. And we looked at. Let's see. Let's zoom in and get all this going. Thanks for the bits, Luke. So, we see harandil bid 4, actually. So, we see Shuichi come out with 2, we see a Watch Commander, and then we see Shoot buying 2 small characters, and using Way of the Crane to turn on Voice of Honor, and potential Noble Sack. Thanks for the bits, as Tarun. Sorry, I was just perusing some chats. Back to the game. gonna need a drink at some point because I'll be talking. So we see, this is really dangerous for harandil. So if Shoot has Fate Worse Than Death, this could just be like horrific for him. Especially, yeah, Void. Oh, this is so risky. He's gonna defend. If we just see first action Fate Worse Than Death, we're gonna need to see an assassination from. So Manicure Garden gains a Fate is the first action. Let me scroll this chat. Now, are we gonna see Fate Worse Than Death here? Interesting. Shoot passes. Maybe he's trying to bait more cards. I guess right. So if you just win the Void here, you just void the Shuichi. We did see harandil pass his first conflict. We see a mountain. All right. If he has Fate Worse Than Death now, it's just a huge blowout, right? Like your opponent just spent a Fate in a card also. I would be very surprised if Shoot doesn't have it. Oh, interesting. Admit defeat. Okay, that's also very strong. Admit defeat here is also really good. You know, if Shoot doesn't have it, then he's just banking the Fate here. So we see a Wayfinder. Oh, use box. Yep, we see Wayfinder show up in the conflict, and then we just see use box. So the 1x admit defeat. The 1x admit defeat shows up, and it. You know, admit defeat is a card that when it fires, it's so strong, right? All right, so. Harandil's gonna have to pass his next conflict. Probably see Military Earth. And then if Shoot has a Bonsai, he can get a second break. Well, I mean the deck has Ferrocord Soto, so it doesn't actually like that. That's the biggest one. Taka's actually insane in the mirror, like Taka's actually real. So he doesn't want to hit Meditations here. If you hit Meditations, it's unlucky. Like Meditations is very easily the worst province to hit because you'll lose your Savvy Politician. So there's the Meditations on Savvy, and then we do see a Sword to go for the break. I think it's perfectly fine trading Sword for break here. Contesting Fire, interesting. He's just going to dishonor Shuichi. Maybe he'll just Noble Sack Shuichi. If you were in a Noble Sack, though, I think you'd want to go for Fire as your first ring instead of Void, because Void would be kind of a wasted ring. But maybe he was not confident he could win the ring. I don't know. Alright, so there's the break. Dishonor Shuichi. Doesn't Noble Sack. So we do see the Taka, we see an Envoy, and we see a Keeper. And we do see a second Keeper in the graveyard. So if Harandil can somehow manage to get an Earth Ring, it could be really strong for him. We see another Savvy Politician, Hotaru, and Narishma. along with Asami. Might just buy another savvy politician here, and then just keep banking fate. Interesting. We see Asami with 3 fate though. Maybe if he has a Way of the Crane for Asami, so then voice is on. Interesting. We do see harandil by Taka. I would have liked to pass there to get passing fate and deny Chuterêve the fate. I don't understand why harandil's bidding 4. He's not playing Good Omen, so it doesn't make any sense to play. I'm taking a look again to make sure he actually isn't playing Good Omen, but I'm pretty sure he's not. Yeah, he's not. I just don't understand why you would bid 4. So we're gonna see a mill attack here, probably mill water to force the block. Like I would mill water here, force the block to otherwise take a bow on Shuichi. You could Paul with Asami and then Taka has to block. You could Paul water. Then Taka has to block because the other 2 characters are in range of box. Yeah, exactly, Onimaru. Like just the one honor bleed every turn. The thing is, it's just not enough. It's not incremental value like that, or incremental change like that doesn't work when the game when the game doesn't last that long. Also, 1 air ring denies 2 turns of you doing that. I did finally get paid by Twitch for all my streaming, so I really appreciate everyone who supports my stream with bits or with subs. I really appreciate it. So we saw Shameful pop up, and that gives harandil the win. Shoot doesn't want to commit anymore. Yeah. I'll have you know it was not a lot of money compared to the amount of time that I have done this. But I did enjoy doing it, so there's that. You can just bow the envoy. Like I mean, if I have a sword or something there, I might consider playing a sword on my Narishima. Then it force. I guess you don't want to play anything into the watch commander. Yeah. Sword doesn't do anything, right? Because then crab box comes out. Sure, that's fine. So you just get Shuichi to defend. Really good attack here by harandil. He finds meditations, which is definitely the province he wants to find. Doesn't give Shoot an action or any fate. Contesting Earth too. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not. So we see an assassination on this Kaiju envoy, and then we do see Yasuki Taka giving harandil a fate. So harandil's up to 4 fate now. He got one from the envoy and then 1 from Taka, and then we see a Wayfinder into the conflict. That assassination was a little bit aggressive. Wayfinder finds Manicured. We see a Steward of Law into the conflict. So we see the censure like Luke called. Censor shows up to cancel the assassination attempted by harandil. I don't like this at all. No, he wants the Earth Ring, right? So he wants the Earth Ring for his keepers. So moving in Taka is bad, right? So moving in Taka, you're gonna get meditations. Then, obviously, Shoot has a first shame, right? Because he put the Steward of Law in the conflict, so you get first shamed. Then you put a Watch Commander on a 0 fated character. Shoot has to remember to use meditations. It is really Shoot did forget to use meditations here, so it's really awkward. So your mentality is when meditations gets attacked by a 0 fate character, this card doesn't do anything. But a lot of people forget that, you know, if a character, sometimes people will play conflict characters into the conflict with a fate, and then they'll just get meditations. Shoot is down to 5 honor though, but he can do a political air here if he wants, or political fire. Sure, but like if he goes void here, it's just not as good. It's just not efficient, right? If he had meditations, you just go. Like I would go fire here to honor Asami. If you want the fate, you can go air too. See, now he's forced to go void. So Void Ring works. We do see a court games come out though to dishonor Asami, so he does not. Oh no, he forgot to use Asami. Yeah, Shoot forgot to use Asami, and he got court games, so he didn't even get the break. So, like, Shoot is kind of getting bailed out by his opponent playing suboptimal cards and kind of taking some wonky lines, but, like, these are mistakes that you absolutely cannot make. Like, forgetting to use meditations, and then having to take the wrong ring, and then forgetting to use Asami. Like, that's just that's a really, really big mistake of a turn, basically. He got bailed out, but it's definitely not what he wanted. So we see Palace, we see 3 big characters here from harandil, really awkward. Like Kasada's not even, like if he had this Watch Commander that he could stick on Kasada, I would be happier. But any of these characters are just gonna get blown out by Fate Worse than Death. You even have Nourishment to burn Kasada's action, so it's not even that great. Yeah, so we see Witch Hunter come out instead. And here's Yoshi with the duplicate Yoshi with favor. Now Shoot can just 1-bid here. He has a storehouse, plus he has Yoshi activation. I really like Shoot's spot here. No problem, Onemara. Yeah, like the problem is that like if you make small misplays in a match, in like a really close match, those mistakes really add up, right? Like the problem is if the match isn't that close and you make the mistakes, the match just gets slightly closer, but it's, you know, it doesn't put you too far behind. Wow, the 3rd Watch Commander, Crab really high rolling here. Shoot bid 2, pretty aggressive with a Dishonor character. I guess you have Asami though, if he remembers to use her. So there's Way of the Crane to honor Yoshi. There's the Spyglass. If Shoot has a calling in favors, I would consider calling in favors onto Yoshi to take the Watch Commander. I would take the Watch Commander. You could even take the Spyglass if you want. So Harandil passes his conflict opportunity. This signifies to me he doesn't have a conflict character. Otherwise, you can just attack on air, get the fate. Now we're gonna see Shoot. I believe go for air here, air or fire. So this last province is gonna be public for him. So Shoot doesn't have to worry about anything. You can just attack with Yoshi and go for the break in public form. We can see a mill attack here from Yoshi. If he does that, we're gonna see a Paul attack here because he's sending Asami too. I don't. Maybe he didn't scout and he thinks this is defend the wall. I think you should do a mill attack with Yoshi and Narishma. He should just mill attack with Yoshi and Narishma. Mill air or mill fire. You can mill fire to Ariana or Asami. You can mill air with just Narishma to basically just make your opponent block. I guess he doesn't have to block because it's not actually going to break with this palace sitting on top of it. I feel like Shoot doesn't understand that this is public for him, because if he realized that, he just wouldn't be sending this much force. Like, your opponent's just not going to block. Alright, so Shoot needs to... there we go. Shoot remembers to use Asami. And then he has to use the Yoshi here. Yep, Yoshi gets used. If he draws calling in favors here, you can calling in favors for 0 now, which is actually reasonable. Especially if you drew like another Way of the Crane or another way to honor. Would have been strong. This is another reason maybe if he had gone for fire, it's stronger. Because if he goes for fire, then he can calling in favors onto Yoshi, then re-honor Yoshi with the firing. If he has a court games, he can court games to re-honor. Like, there's a lot of things he could do. Obviously, he needs to still draw the calling in favors. Well, like, even if he wants to play Fate Worse Than Death, he just doesn't have... like... Your opponent knows the province lineup. I guess any Seeker province gives you 4, so that's reasonable. So we see Shoot just gain 2, you know, doesn't even want to bother with steal. Harandil passes as a conflict opportunity, interesting. Shoot's gonna go fire here for sure. So with the Witch, if he goes fire here, and the Witch Hunter blocks, Fate Worse Than Death will do everything but dishonor due to the Steward of Law. So the Spyglass is gonna draw a card here. I think Shoot could have also gone for water if he thinks he can win the conflict to restand Yoshi and get the favor. The problem is he's not gonna get favor here. We do see a massive hand advantage though, 11-6. Harandil passes, Shoot's tanking a little bit. Okay, so we just see For Shame come out. So Watch Commander makes him lose the honor. Does Shoot have a military buff here? So there's a non-kicked bonsai. The Watch Commander does make him lose the honor though. That air ring coming in big, coming in real handy here. So re-honors Asami, breaks the palace, gets favor again. We're just kind of seeing a snowball effect here of large incremental advantages that have built up turn after turn. Putting more fate on your characters. Void rings, just kind of inefficient plays. So Shoot loses 2 characters. So it's rally though, Luke. So he has to make sure to pop the rally first with another character. So you just buy guest. You can just buy your board here, right? You buy your board and then you attack first with Savvy Politician on mill, and then you send everyone else on the pol attack afterwards. Interesting. Shoot just passed. So this just it feels like he has rival. They can't play like court games or any other court games or like other stuff. It's just also four pol skill. But I guess if you just have the rivals and like Fate Worse Than Death in your hand, you might as well not play her. I think Shoot's gonna break the stronghold this turn. You just do like interesting. Why is he sending Yoshi here? Maybe he sends Yoshi here, and then if the crab player under defends, you can like Fate Worse Than Death the blocker, and then just go for like a bonsai break. Shu does have to be wary and make sure that he does not burn Yoshi's action onto Kasada. Oh, awesome. Looks like Kingsley came over here. Kingsley came over here to bring over some new viewers. Thanks Kingsley for more viewers. So we have hashtag offensive indeed. We got Joe here. Hey, what's up, Steelfur? Seeing the mill attack here. So Shoot has to burn an action. Shoot has to burn an action here to burn Kasada. Then he can Yoshi, and if he has Fate Worse Than Death, he can just Fate Worse Than Death as Witch Hunter. And I think he might be able to break on mill. Hey, what's up, guys? I guess guys and girls, right? I know Anemone is watching, so I guess be more inclusive. So we see a policy debate get canceled by Casada. Yeah, that's fair, Kingsley. Thanks. So Yoshi discards the favor, draws 3 cards. There were some like inefficient plays on turn one. Like turn one was shoot bought some small characters, and then like admit defeat, like led to 2 breaks. Like it was just a little bit of inefficiencies from the crab. So there's Fate Worse Than Death and the Witch Hunter. Not surprised. Now a Bonsai breaks, I believe. Right, Bonsai puts you to 9. That's up by 8. Yeah, Bonsai breaks. Like admit defeat ranges from like unplayable because your opponent blocks differently to like very good, right? Like it's just a really strong one of. Basically, it's just kind of like a respect card where if you don't respect it, you can just kind of get punished. So all of Shoot's events cost 2 less, I believe. Yeah. So that Fate Worse Than Death only costed Shoot 2, which is really really strong. That's kind of the oft forgotten part about Yoshi's text. So if there's Voice of Honor to cancel Rebuild, wanted to rebuild this favorable ground maybe to. I guess he can move the Witch Hunter back in and then. Oh no, it can't stand. It's blanked. So we see a policy debate. We see a court games. We see the fair accord. We see a katana, a skirmisher. You probably just take the katana here. You can take katana or skirmisher. Both represent 2 skills. Skirmisher with boxes 2, katanas 2. There's 2 rebuilds also, so like you're just gonna, the rebuilds are just gonna happen. Yeah, look, I said some inefficiencies. I already explained that I think Ferrocord is unplayable. Yeah, the crane box, the crane box. Yep. Takes takes the fan actually. Interesting. Favorable grounds, Vanguard Warrior in. Interesting. Maybe he's gonna try and go for a mill attack with Kasada and try and get these keepers. So Vanguard Warrior. So he could have considered rebuilding again to give +4/+4. So Crab Box comes out. Yeah, I think this Paul break is just gonna happen now. Right, the rival and all this other stuff. Like you're just gonna break on Paul here. The Crab Box has been used. The fan got taken. Like even if Kasada wins Earth here, who cares? Like if Kasada runs into Shameful, he could get Noble sacked. No, which hunter is not back in play? Onimaru, it got Fate Worse Than Death, so it's blanked. So which hunter cannot use its ability? So we see Secret Fate come out here by hitting Manicure Garden. Attacks Void, interesting. He just... Wait, this just loses him the game. Wait, yeah, she just doesn't block. I don't understand. I don't understand this. The attack on. Oh, so he just leaves? Sure. You just wanted the fate. Like if you attack Earth and then she doesn't defend, you can then just play a conflict character and get your keepers, right? Like I think Earth was 100% the correct attack. I mean, I've got 3 Mia Mystics. I've got 3 Mia Mystics in my deck. Oh right. We know his hand dirty deeds. That's my bad. So we see Voice of Honor cancels, Way of the Crab, and there's the rival. That's gonna be the break. And that's gonna be the game. So pretty convincing win. Yeah, you just sacrifice Yoshi, or you can sacrifice your Savvy Politician. Oh no, that wouldn't be enough to break. Yeah, and all right, time to go make fun of Chuterêve for missing all those things on turn 2. I'm sure he was already beating himself about it. Shoot's a very self-aware player. So that has Chuterêve moving on to the round of 32. So let's go ahead and take a look at. Let's find Shoot on here. Oh, this is the wrong bracket. There it is. Alright, so this has Chuterêve moving on. And so Chuterêve will be playing against the winner of Serial and Nightcrawlers. So a dragon or a phoenix. The people from the previous game, what was that match and who won? I'm sure someone in chat can tell me. Does it really? Oh, okay. I can just do that now. Goblin Guide one? Okay. Let's see. So it's paste all. Was it paste formulas only? Oh, sure. Okay, cool. Is Goblin Guide not on here? Oh, it's like 2 G's or 2 R's, isn't it? God, I wish he would just sign up as Goblin Guide. It's so much easier. Paste for formula only. Cool. All right. So Goblin Guide will be playing against Zello is back in the round of 64. I did that one Steel for, and Luke was saying not to do that one, so. Alright, so the round of 64, or round of 128 is finishing up. Still a few matches still to be played. Reminder. Yeah, that's fair. Reminder to everyone who still plays the round of 128 that tomorrow is the deadline. So just keep that in mind if you're in chat and you need to schedule your game. And that'll do it. Thanks everyone for checking out the cast.